And they're not telling everybody what time it is because remember when I did, I think it was hyperdimensional warfare. I'm not sure which one of the lectures I did when I spoke about the fact that our entire solar system is spiraling through a whole new part of the universe, or a part of the universe that our ancestors had previously passed through, and that were interfacing and interacting with planets, life forms, and different star configurations that our generation and generations 1,000 years removed had not come into conjunction with, except our ancestors who had already made the journey around the central core of the galaxy and came back to this point. They can dig for 10 miles to 20 miles under the earth, and they will pop up with civilizations that belong to black folks tens of millions of years ago. And the problem is that the earth is a layer of crystal. And that's the other part that they're not telling you, that before the earth was actually earth and dirt and all of this, it was actually a ball of crystal.
Wow. And
that the accumulation of the materials around this crystalline energies is what you see now happening. The layers of the planet are added on in accordance with the consciousness that needs to inhabit it. And as who we are, the reason why we're so goddamn dense is because the denseness of the earth is matching the consciousness of those walking on it.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, we were working with our thoughts. We would be able to talk with our thoughts. We would create things with our thoughts. In fact, everything that is around this crystal right now is based upon the residual byproducts of our thinking process as we began to descend, or as the Bible says, as man began to fall. So what we're looking at this point right now is our navigating back out of this thing that we have created. Right now, all things that descend or fall must resurrect. The very purpose of creation is for redemption purposes. See, that's the thing that the Christians and all the rest of the religionists don't tell you, that creation is for the purpose of redemption.
I guess that's why I say in the Bible that all of creation is waiting on us.
All of creation is what?
Waiting on us.
Oh, well, yeah, that's because, we're the ones who are the creators at this point.
Okay.
We are the ones who volunteered to take the plunge into matter. And now we down here, we done got all caught up in the party, and we done forgot where we came from. Ain't nobody looking at their watches anymore, only a couple of us. And all of us are trying to ring the bell over all the noise of the music, saying, yo, it's time to go. And everybody's trying to party. They ain't want to hear it.
1999.
So now everybody is going to be forced to have to make some kind of inward examination about what it is that they've been doing, because it's all superficial. Why are you living and breathing? Why do you have the capacity to know so much and know even more? Why is it the capacity for you to be a God is sitting in there irking, itching, scratching at you, that your itch you can't scratch? You know you gods, but you just can't reach whatever that is to turn that switch on to become a God. That's what you're doing right now. That's what's urging us forward, and that's why we're being challenged. If there was no resistance, there would be no persistence.
True.
Waves to make waves. Okay. I want to say thank you.
Welcome,
thank you,
beloved.
too. Love you guys.
Love you, too.
Love you, too, beloved.
Thank you. Peace.
Whew. I didn't want to do this while you was talking, Phil. You know what I'm saying? But we got to give you a just due. You dropping it, bro. Just thanks. Now,
where's Brother Rashid at?
Peace, Lord.
Peace, God. I think at this time, with the setup that has been developed, I think this is actually time where we could delve into the topic of tonight's show.
Okay.
The good doctors warmed up, you know what I mean? The black news, we took care of that. That's in the bag. Now, the title of the show is The Phenomenon of Cloaking. Conjecture. Exploring the phenomenon of conjecture cloaked as content. And this is something that we all have been forced to endure for the longest, but I'm ready to put it in a box tonight because it has to end.
Well, let's do it. Let me go. Let me do this fast. Yeah?
All right, easy.
Fast. Learning and
your phone is breaking up. Hold on. Your phone is breaking up.
Going too fast, brother.
Yeah, you chopping up the airwaves. Come back down, Dr. Manhattan. Come back down, Dr. Manhattan.
Okay.
Let's go back in.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my beloved. Listen. You have to study primary sources of information. And I believe that presently the content coming from sources of information, not the primary source. So
your phone was going in and out.
Okay, well.
Do you have it on speaker? Or is that's the Google jump off, so you got to speak into it, correct?
Can you hear me better?
Yes, we can.
Okay. The books that we're using, that people are using to get their information, are not primary sources. And the fact that we have not initiated the primary source of information that people are saying that they downloaded from their intuitive Akashic records, they don't pan out into what is needed for the community to develop. Anyone that is presenting information that is not being able to be used by those who need it the most, they're speaking a knowledge that has no precedence, and therefore it is akin to a waste of time. It's a phenomenon that during great changes, periods of people create ideologies out of thin air to compensate for ignorance or the inability to act on imperatives. So, are shunted from the ability to...
Rashid, Brad, can you call them on the three-way?
Let me call
Rashid,
you back.
They got you in Serato.
Okay. T-paining me?
Yeah, they T-paining you right now.
Still T-paining, huh?
Call back on a better connection so we could get we need a clear feed on what you're going in on, because that needs every word needs to be heard.
Yes, sir. Call me right back.
Indeed.
All right.
All right. So in the meantime, between time, Dr. Phil, do you wanna add on before Brother Rashid gets back on?
Well, what was the name of that topic again?
So he can add on. Yeah.
Yeah, what was the name of that topic that you're speaking about? It sounds familiar, because I believe that I framed it in another way. What was that you called it?
This is exploring the phenomenon of conjecture cloaked as content.
Okay, that's the same as when I speak about synthetic synchronicity. If you're dealing with conjecture cloaked as content, it's dealing with the principles I teach at the university, which is synthetic synchronicity, preemptive consent. When we're dealing with the hypothetics of reality, all of it is actually dealing, as far as dealing with conjecture, all of it is how someone deals with the conversation. Who is it that's posing the conversation? Who's creating the content of the conversation that makes us believe we need to converse along those lines? And the people are throwing out conversations for us to get bogged down to. And it's interesting because if you notice in a court of law, if you have a specific case to present before the judge, you present that case with all of the evidence and all of the cites you need in order to win that case. And then the opposing attorney introduces something that has nothing to do with the merits of the case. Now,
yes.
You can either understand what to do by just denying and staying on point, or you get caught up in his conversation, and if you do, now the judge has to go with him. So if we are there working against ourselves by adopting somebody else's conjecture as content, that's exactly what they do in church. In church, you have a group of people sitting before a man conjecturing about somebody who was the Son of God, who was the Son of the universal God that created everything that can ever exist before, during, and after. He decides to send somebody to walk on the planet and tells you that if you don't come this way, then you can't get to heaven. That's the biggest form of bullshit conjecture that we could actually interpret and actually incorporate into our being. So now, if you want to conjecture that somebody who was a little white blonde-haired boy came to bring your ass out of the ghetto, then you can go ahead and deal with that as content. Now, that content, if you got a barrel full of shit, that's still content.
Surely is.
So it depends on the content and what's holding the content and the integrity of the content, and whether or not the content's coming out of your ass or out of your brain. So, yes, we've been dealing with conjecture. We've been dealing with the conjecture called government. We've been dealing with the conjecture called education. We've been dealing with the conjecture called religion. We've been dealing with conjecture all our lives as African peoples in this diaspora. We've been dealing with the conjecture of being niggers.
Yes, sir.
So everything we're speaking about is definitely into what I call the synthetic synchronicity. Somebody synchronizing your reality and having you accept the content as reality and then synchronizing your reality along specific lines. And it's synthetically done by incorporating your likes and dislikes, telling you this is the new style to wear tomorrow. You know, fuck the czars of fashion. Why the hell you got to dress
Sophia Stewart actually spoke about that when she was describing what exactly the Matrix is.
Most definitely. And that matrix itself is us being synchronized synthetically and dealing with conjecture as content, and dealing with conjecture not only as content, but reliable content. See, content just don't mean nothing. Is it reliable? Is it something that we could rely on?
Right. Rashid?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Is this better?
Can you turn the phone up slightly? Because it sounds a little low.
Turn it up.
Yeah,
okay.
It's great now.
Hello?